You are welcome here. You are welcome. Hi, everybody. Good morning and welcome. It's good to see you here this morning. People are still coming in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I think everybody had their church last night. It seems like kind of slim pickings today, but that's okay. We can have fun. So let's just take a moment and just tell somebody sitting near you, what are you most grateful for today? Okay, I think we're back. Nice to have a friendly group. I think I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Reverend Bonnie Rose, and this is the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living, and it is great to see you here this morning. We are the Cathedral of Kindness, the Temple of Transformation, whatever you want to call it. We're here to raise joy and to just learn to live in love and kindness.
Let's start this morning by everyone taking a deep breath, closing your eyes if you'd like, and breathe. Think of a time you had a conflict. Someone or something hurt your feelings, took something from you, or maybe got in your way. How did you resolve that conflict? Did you find a loving, peaceful solution? Or is it still unresolved? Is there still a problem? Something's still bothering you a little bit. For those of you who are not at peace, I want you to remember 3 things. Number 1, God is with you in everything, having no shape or form, because it's every shape and every form, including you. Number 2, you can always tap into its power. Find that feeling of peace, love, joy, friendship, and or compassion. And 3, when you practice tapping into that power, when you don't have a conflict, it will be easy to do when you do have a conflict. So, practice mindfulness. Meditate, sit, or move, and just listen to the world around you. Let go of the chatter in your mind, and you will hear that voice in your heart. Or just simply breathe, and then concentrate on your breath and just listen. I invite you all to repeat after me. I have the power in me.
I have the power in me.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it is. Thank you. So let us continue to breathe deeply and to feel the beautiful words that Gail spoke. Breathing in and breathing out. Settling into the awareness of this present moment, in this present place, this sacred place that we carry with us all the time, this place that we know as divine. And as we breathe in and breathe out and relax, we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
The Practice Before the Practice by Mark Nepo. From the moment we open our eyes, we are meaning-seeking creatures, looking for what matters, though we carry what matters deep within us. And more than the hard-earned understandings we arrive at, more than the principles or beliefs we stitch together out of our experience, how we stay in relationship to the mysterious whole of life is what brings us alive and keeps us alive. Everyone knows firsthand that life is messy and painful, beautiful, but unpredictable. The endless practice is keeping our heart open to the whole of it. And the journey of becoming who we were born to be never ends. It's limitless, eternal. We don't arrive, we grow. I believe and give my heart to the notion that spirituality is listening for and living into the soul's place on earth. A life of spirit, regardless of the path we choose, begins with a person's acceptance that they are part of something larger than themselves. To know who we really are and to know the truth of our existence and our connection to the living universe is, for me, the fundamental question, the fundamental life-giving question that the heart commits to once opened by love or by suffering. How we are led and pushed to our true nature is what spirituality and personal growth are all about. Every single being has an amazing, unfathomable gift that only meeting life head on and heart on will reveal. And we can't fully know our gift alone. We need each other to discover the gift, to believe in the gift, and then to learn how to use it. There is always a practice before the practice, a sitting before the incomprehensible long enough to feel and sometimes understand the mystery that each instrument and craft is designed to evoke. In Japan, before an apprentice can clay up his hands and work the wheel, he must watch the master potter for years. In Hawaii, before a young man can ever touch a boat, he must sit on a cliff of his ancestors and simply watch the sea. In Africa, before the children are allowed to drum, they must rub the length of skin stretched over wood and dream of the animal whose heart will guide their hands. In Vienna, the prodigy must visit the piano maker before ever fingering a scale to see how the keys are carved and put into place. And in Switzerland, legend has it that before the master watchmaker can couple his tiny gears, he must sit long enough to feel the passage of time. Starting this way enables a love of the process that is life-giving. The legendary cellist Pablo Casals was asked at 92 why he still practiced for 4 hours a day. He smiled and replied, "Because I believe I'm making progress." This is the sort of deep progress that saves us.
Thank you. And so, sitting in the glow of that reading, knowing that we are all ordained with a sacred purpose, that it may be something that we recognize, something that we don't recognize, but it's there. It may be something that makes us famous. It may be something that we do subtly on the side without being recognized, but just doing it and knowing that it is ours to do. We trust the wisdom of great love and great suffering. Richard Rohr defining suffering as any time the ego has to let go. And we let go. We let go of any limitations that we might have imposed upon ourselves, that the separate self might be telling us. And we just allow ourselves to be still here in this sacred presence, in this sacred knowing, as we remember the divine essence that we are. We know that the words I am are words that mean divine or love or God or spirit or higher power or the living one. And so together, let us remember the true essence of our being, singing, I am remembering who I am, remembering it for ourselves, but remembering it also for every being in the cosmos. I am remembering who I am. And living in this divine remembrance, this power, this grace, this beauty, this humility, this exaltation, let us breathe in deeply and then exhale, opening our eyes as love, in love and in service to what is, as it is, and so it is.
Good morning. How y'all bees? All's well? We good? We good? Yeah, your people good? Everybody good? This is a relatively new song. It is called Road to Heaven 564. We'll talk about Road to Heaven 564 in a little bit. Many are called, but few to choose to walk the narrow road into heaven. Prefer they, it seems, to play and wander wide and far among the lost and found. I wonder if they've heard the news that every road is the road into heaven. Even as we pretend to see our inner light as darkness all around. Good news, the road we're traveling on has only one destination. We're already welcome. We're already welcome there. We're already welcome. For the road to heaven begins and ends within. I used to question if I too was living life that would fit me for heaven. If any fault to failures found by some around could truly damn my soul. Amazing, this grace some sing, it can't be just for some. It's crazy to deny the one who gives the grace, who sets trillions of stars in space, who knows its life is every race beneath the sun. The one, the one, the one, ba-dum, ba-dum. Good news, the all, the living one, for us has one destination. We're already welcome. We're already welcome there. We're already welcome. For the road to heaven begins and ends with many are called, but few do choose. I wonder if they've heard the news.
Ray, dang. How did you get so good?
Practice. Yeah, actually, yeah, a lot of practice. And I've got a few instruments. I play piano, trumpet, and guitar, and a few others that I don't really bother with now.
Yeah.
Recorder. I play the recorder a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Cool.
A little ukulele.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so there's a lot of practice.
A lot of practice, yeah. Well, it's just amazing. And so many of us were talking about the concert last night, which is going to be on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we'll find a way to get it there.
Oh, there was an issue.
No, I'll get the recording and
Oh,
then we'll
okay,
post it. So
good.
yeah, it'll be there.
Yeah, so it's going to be on YouTube if you want to hear it later on, and just not only your artistry as a musician, but also your mysticism and your masonry.
Yeah.
And just just the way you communicate deep spiritual principles in such a beautiful way. It's a really unique and beautiful way. So I'm kind of speechless. So it's just really wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. So our plan was to talk about the song that you just wrote, that you just played. And what is 456, by the way?
564.
564. Okay. There you go.
564 is actually, so just so you know, I do a lot of little things as a writer. Okay. I am kind of a weird cat.
No.
I mean, well, I say that, and I say it proudly.
Well, nobody here is weird, so
Yeah, that's right. Y'all wouldn't get it. You're the weird ones of the family, so you know what I'm talking about.
That's why we're here.
And I do things musically that make me laugh or delight me. I never know if people are, sometimes I have an idea, but I never know for sure if people are really going to dig what I do. So I decided years ago I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to do the thing that I dig. And I put little little gifts for myself in songs. And this title is one of them, Road to Heaven. I refuse to call it The Road to Heaven in part because of its because of the subject of the song, but also because I have a lot of songs that start with the, and I just wanted to switch it up. But the 5-6-4 has to do with intervals. Intervals, the distances between notes. And so the chord structure is one that delighted me when it fell out of my hands. And I put it down. I keep recordings of song ideas on my iPhone. And so I put it down on the iPhone, and I knew right away it was going to be something fun. And so I decided to enshrine that delight in the title. So it's Road to Heaven 5-6-4.
There you go. With intervals, yeah. Yeah, and I promise I'm going to get to the topic, but one of the things that I love, this is just about us right now, but one of the things that I really love is that, is it Hush, where you go do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, who expects dee after that? Nobody. I love it. I love it.
And it's kind of out, too. It's so for a jazz musician, okay. So there's structure, there's certain structure in music that was imposed in us, inspired and imposed by Western concert music, what people refer to as classical music, combined with the rhythms and melodic ideas of Africans who came here, who ended up here, and brought here. It's not like we weren't on holiday. Well, but
carry on.
Carry on. Well, but so the structures help give birth to jazz, and jazz then extends the harmonic ideas. Expands and expands and expands, and so that gling is actually an expansion of the harmonic idea I'm laying down. Oh, so I'm doing a little pentatonic thing. Yeah. And then is way out of the.
You may have to show us later after this talk. Just play the first, first thing, so everybody knows what we're talking about. Right. Anyway, so let's talk about what we intended to talk about.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I love the title of this song is it's about heaven, right? Road to Heaven. And what did you learn about heaven when you were a kid? Because I know you were raised as Seventh-day Adventist, which is traditional Christianity, right? And
Yeah, it's about as traditional Christianity as you can get. Good Protestant denomination. Yeah. With a couple differences. They worship on Saturday, and they have an idea about the second coming of Jesus that is particular to them. It's shared, but there are some specifics that are kind of important for them. And so the way I was taught about heaven, and this is through church and church school. I went to mostly church school. Was that heaven was a geographical location. It was a place. Somewhere not on the planet, but heretofore undiscovered by astronomers. A place that was a reward for the righteous and excluded from the wicked.
Okay. What did you have to do to be righteous? Or let's talk about how people get wicked. What are some wickednesses? But before we do that, does anybody else have a similar definition? Did you grow up with a similar definition of heaven? Right? Whether Judaism, Christianity, similar definition, right? That it's a destination, and you have to be really super good. You have to follow the rules to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's wicked?
So wicked, wicked was easy.
Yeah.
Just be born, and you're wicked already. Show up on the planet with 2 legs. That's it. Wicked.
Yeah.
So that was the easy part, and and allow yourself to be swayed by the devil's enticements.
The devil? Just the one?
The devil.
Okay.
The devil. He was in charge of all them other demons.
Okay.
Beelzebub, Satan.
Other demons. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, there's a guy in our center that I always quote. He said that when he grew up Southern Baptist, and he said that you could go to hell even by thinking the wrong thoughts.
Oh, child, yeah.
Oh, child,
now you're talking
yeah.
about sins.
Sins.
See, so the principal way, of course, is to be born, because we're born in sin and shapen in iniquity. That was the belief, and they
Do
found
not
that
take
in the
this out
Bible.
of context, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're
This is-
watching the
Yeah,
live stream.
I'm not saying that's so.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
that's why.
Right.
That's what I believed.
Yeah,
That's what I
when you
took
were a kid.
on.
Yeah.
And I make that distinction, by the way. I know that I was taught certain things, but it was my choice to believe.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a little bitty, not really so much, but I got older and started, getting some brains for myself, and I continued to accept it and believe it and take it in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're born in, that was the teaching, born in sin and shapen in iniquity, and it required a holy intervention to change things.
Okay.
The life marked by sin. Sin was, so I got to move that out of the way because that's new. Get the old stuff. Good. So sin was acts that separated me from God.
Like drinking, fornicating, all
Drinking, fornicating, playing cards, shucking, jiving, and,
that. How about dancing?
slipping, sliding. Oh, in our place,
Yeah.
definitely dancing.
You couldn't dance?
Nope, could not dance.
Oh, wow.
Couldn't dance, couldn't play cards, couldn't go to the movies. No jewelry, no ornamental jewelry in
No
our particular
jewelry.
thing.
No
So
makeup for women, right?
That's right, no makeup?
No makeup for women? No lusting in your heart after somebody?
Well, at least not that anybody could tell. No, definitely no lusting in the heart. No lust, no, all the 10 Commandments stuff for sure. But a lot of other social things. So, the playing of cards, the dancing, the listening to the wrong kind of music. I couldn't listen to rock and roll. I couldn't listen to jazz. I couldn't listen to blues. Come on, man. I couldn't listen to music.
Wow.
But man, you get some Montevani strings in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Some Mahalia Jackson. We heard a lot of Mahalia Jackson.
Well, that's a good thing.
Which is a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it is amazing that you turned out as you did without an early childhood influence of jazz and blues, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. So, it seems like maybe God got in there.
I think what happened, again, I consider myself kind of weird cat because I now blend a lot of things.
Yeah.
I take stylistic influences from all kinds of places.
Yeah, I thought I heard a little gospel last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got more of that too.
So, you're talking about all the things that you once believed heaven was. Now, how would you define heaven now? Or the road to heaven?
Heaven is a state of bliss. Mm-hmm. It's a state of bliss. Bliss is the effect. Bliss is what shows up. Heaven is a full alignment, conscious awareness of one. Mm. In the Hebrew, the word is echad. I've been working with that word a lot in the last 3 weeks, echad. Anyone grew up Jewish? I didn't. So, yeah. The Shema, you remember the Shema?
Shema Yisrael.
Shema Israel.
Yeah.
In Hebrew, it is Shema Israel, Yod Heva Elohim, Yod Heva Echad. So our God is one. Is one. God is one. Echad, unity. So it is conscious awareness of that state of being without having to create it. So, in our normal kind of waking, moving about awareness, we are specialists at detecting difference and distinction. Mm-hmm. It has been important for the survival of our species that we detect difference and evaluate that difference. Mm-hmm. So I am different than that bench, that seat. Mm-hmm. I can use that seat to sit on down and rest my bones. I cannot eat that seat.
That's a relief.
Important for survival, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And so that is the function and purpose of this aspect of consciousness. The one we walk around with all the time, the one we deal with all the time. We work from, we receive information with, and we give information through. It is that aspect of consciousness that sees differences, evaluates, makes judgments, all that kind of stuff. It's hardwired into us. It is one of the reasons that we are so successful as a species on this planet.
Mm-hmm. Can I share with you something, with
Oh, please
everybody,
do.
something that I heard recently? I was listening to some podcast or something, and there was a physicist talking about something like this, about the layers of separation that we impose upon this basic oneness. And he was talking about how we need it. And he said, like, look at that door over there. Like, if you think you're one with the door, how are you going to leave the room? You know? It's like, you can't be a door and leave the room.
That's right.
You have to be you and leave the room.
That's right.
You know, there has
That's
to be
right.
some type of separation. So I look at doors differently now.
Right.
I'm like, I'm
Right.
one with it, but I can leave the room if I want to.
But this is an important thing too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think because if I okay,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of us that are spiritual but not religious now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's a growing movement in the United States, by the way.
Yeah.
Tiny still, tiny. But so a lot of folks in their zeal think, I want to know that I'm one with everything and all this. Yeah, and that's a cool idea, but you know, pragmatically, it doesn't actually work.
No.
You know, how, again, so I'm one with the room, I'm one with the door, I'm one with the floor, I'm one with, you know. A lot of people experience that on psychedelics. No kidding, yeah. You know, a lot of people experience, and because that's a whole nother topic. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's all I had to say though. I think the thing about what you're talking about sometimes with modern metaphysics is that people so much want to be part of the one that they exclude the parts of themselves that feel like they're flawed, or the parts of reality that seem like they're flawed, and say this can't possibly be the one.
Mm-hmm.
Even really, really bad stuff that you, every fiber of your being wants to exclude, but it's like, wait, no, this is part of the one. How can there be God in something else? You know,
It's a
Edward,
tough one, yeah.
Edward Filluen, he says, either God is all there is or God is not all there is. You have to pick one or the other. God is, and I picked God is all there is.
Yeah,
You know?
all there is.
Yeah,
All there is.
all there is. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much that I want to say. I'm
I know,
editing.
I
sorry.
know. Same here, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
We got 10 whole minutes for you to.
10 minutes, we can do it.
Yeah. Do you want me to? Because I mean, I have a list of questions, but as you know, we flow. We flow, right?
Yeah.
But I am curious about some of the. You know, did you anybody recognize any Bible verses? This is a quiz in Ray's song. Just in case you didn't, I'll just tell you the answers. He said, "The road is narrow," right? You said the road is narrow, and you also said, which is I will read the quote here: "Small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it," which sounds a little depressing, right? Like, oh my God, am I going to be one of the few that find it? And then the other one, we'll talk about them one at a time, is, what's the other one? It's one about many are called, but few are chosen, right? Let's talk about that first one. The road is narrow. Small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it.
That's the first line in the song.
Yeah.
Many are called, but few do choose to walk that narrow road into heaven. Let's talk about the narrow road.
Yeah, the narrow road.
So, as you know, the Bible was not written in English.
Right.
It wasn't written in English, go figure. The best source that we have for the verses you're referring to are Greek sources. And these statements were attributed to Yeshua. Yeshua is the Hebrew name for the person we refer to as Jesus. I tend to want to call him Yeshua because that's what his mama called him.
That's what his mama called him. Yeah.
And the name Jesus didn't exist when he was around. So, but we have the Greek. He probably didn't say this in Greek. He was probably speaking Aramaic. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what the Aramaic was at the time. But the Greek in which it's recorded refers to gates and refers to narrow. Now let's talk about gate first.
Yeah.
The word for gate actually traces back to a Hebrew word that it is dalet, resh, and then final Kaf. Doesn't mean anything to you if you don't know the Hebrew alphabet. But the beautiful thing about that word, that particular word, if you just look at the letters, because the letters have individual meaning. The letter Dalet means a door. Resh, from which we actually get Rosh Hashanah, is head or even face, the front of the head. And then Kaf, even in its final form, refers to the hand in the act of grasping, like I got it, I got control of this. So you combine those three things, door, head, face, as in the mind, mental choice, and something that is understood and acquired. So that gate, narrow is the gate. Now, the narrow part, oh man, the Greek word is referring to narrow because of constriction, because of impediments, because of things. So it actually can get a little bit more depressing before it starts to feel better. And here's why. Because then it is narrow. It is difficult. It is uncommon. Most people in the world think that what you're talking about believing today is crazy cuckoo nuts.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, y'all.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it's because it goes against the majority thought, if there's any thought about spirituality, if there's any thought about religion, it refers to a God that is distant from us, separate from us, has to give us things we have to measure up to some standard. But in part, that's true. Not the separate part, but the standard. And here's what, oh gosh.
You go.
So
you go.
There,
Yeah.
that thing that you have up there.
Yeah.
That is the tree of life. Kabbalah. Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism, is that branch of Jewish worship and teaching that is mystical. It refers to received instruction. And it actually forms the basis, it's one of the influences, it forms the basis of new thought. And so in Kabbalah, we use this symbol to represent all of the cosmos and really the progression of creation itself. So you see from the top to the bottom, you have these glowing, there are many versions ways of depicting it, but it's always this form, always these colors. And so you have 10 little dots called sephirot, or emanations. The very one at the top, that bright white one, is kind of where God begins, and nothing else. And everything that is to come is contained therein. By the time you get down to the bottom, you've got physical form. And so it talks about a progression of, I'm going to use the word God here, of God involving itself in creation, knowing itself as everything that exists. Now think about the profundity, the possibilities of that. God knows itself as everything that exists. I'm looking at a basket that people are going to fill up with lots of money. God knows itself as that basket, as the raw materials that created that basket. Humans fashioned the raw materials into that basket. So we have some part in creation. Our place in the whole cosmos is basically as a creational representative of the one. We stand in the gap between things that have evolved from mineral to vegetable to animal and the higher consciousness. We're in the gap there. So the song is basically saying, when we begin to see ourselves in that form, then we begin to become enlightened. When we invite the idea that I am a participant in creation, that this consciousness that I have of myself is one aspect of the living one knowing itself. It knows itself as Ray, knows itself as Bonnie. How can I be in sin or in error? How is that possible? Well, I did something terrible yesterday. I cheated somebody out of some money. I did something terrible yesterday. I made somebody feel bad. I did something terrible yesterday that I can't tell you about because I'm so ashamed.
We'll talk later.
How is that possible? No,
Yeah.
even in what I've done does not change the nature of my essential self.
Right.
Because, and I'm just going to cut to the chase. So God involves itself in creation, and then creation evolves to know itself as God.
Yep. Involution, evolution. Yeah. Like the dervishes.
That's all there. It's all in that.
It's
little,
all there. Yeah. I just want to just back up for 1 sec, just so, because you mentioned that it's both easy and hard.
Yeah.
Like we're automatically loved, right?
Automatically.
And just to in case anybody is feeling uncomfortable about that, because a lot of people here came from churches where they were told, you don't stand a chance. You got to change this about yourself. You got to change this about yourself. In my experience, the hard part is the remembrance, and I think you just said that, but it's the remembrance that I am one with God, and so is everybody else.
Yeah.
And the other hard part is that my awareness of God is not some pale imitation of what I think I should be to be the awareness of God. Did you get that? Yeah, it happened when I wrote that book that I've been warning you and Lori about.
I started reading it last night.
I know you started reading it last night. Yeah, but it was so vulnerable and so open, and I said some sort of provocative things in it, and I thought, oh my God, everybody's going to reject me. But it was completely authentic, and the paradox was that the more I was me, the more I was vulnerable, the more I was authentic, the more I felt the love of God, not only from me, but from the people who read it and said, oh, you think that way too? I think that way too. Wow. But it's just. It's that. It's not about trying to be something to be more like God. It's about being more of what already has been implanted in us to be part of God. And that's why the way feels so narrow, because, okay, you're on this little tightrope and you're saying, well, my mother thinks I should be over here.
Yes.
And, my preacher thinks I should be over here. But what if you're just supposed to be here, doing you, one step at a time? And even the things that you mess up, I've also discovered this through writing a life story, even the things that you mess up or that you call messed up, are part of the divine's purpose. Isn't that incredible?
It is incredible.
I mean, like the worst things you do are part of the divine purpose.
And nothing in the world is going to tell you that.
Yes, nothing in the world is going to tell you that. And the other thing too is that if it's first of all, it is impossible to escape the love of God. It is impossible to escape the love of God.
That's all there is.
It's just that we don't always know it. We can't always see it. The kingdom of heaven is spread upon the earth, but we don't see it. The love of God is spread within us, but we don't always see it. And if it's true for me, and I hate to admit this, it's true for everybody else too, right?
I know, man, because there's some folks that, man, I wish it wasn't true for you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, scoundrel, you.
Let me do my affirmation that I do with the congregation, okay? We're all going to say this after me. Repeat after me. I am divine.
I am divine.
You are divine.
You are divine.
Stinky is divine.
Stinky is divine.
And so it is.
That's so
Yeah.
Stinky is divine.
Stinky, you substitute stinky for the name of somebody
there you
or something
go.
you don't like.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I picked up something recently.
What?
Y'all, I just dig Hebrew because it's so pragmatic a lot of times. It's so practical. I picked up something recently. There's a saying, and I hope I'm getting this right, but it's which one? Kuf resh. Beresh. No. Bishin resh. Bishin kuf resh. Bishin kuf resh. Yeah. Bishin kuf resh. Which is a phrase you would say to a kid who just said something you know is wrong and that they know is wrong. They're lying and they know it, and you know that they know it. Because it's like saying with a lie. You're saying it with a lie. Because shin kuf resh is a shekel, which means lie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've been saying that to myself when a crazy thought shows up.
Right.
That denies my divinity, that denies the essential essence of good
Right.
That you're talking about. I say, all right, bishin kuchesh.
Yes, that's right. That's right. The
I like your affirmation more though.
stinky is divine.
Stinky's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Well, even you can apply it to people, but you can also apply it to thoughts. Like
Yeah.
stinky is this thought that I'm having that is so destructive and so getting in the way of who I think I am destined to be. That's divine too. And as soon as you do that, it starts to just flow
That's
away.
right. I want to say something else about this song, and we're probably about
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Oh, look at that time.
Oy vey. Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah.
I wrote this in part. Well, this one took a little bit of nerve
Yeah?
to write.
Really?
Yeah, it did. Because I think of it like, well, you know the movie Braveheart, and Mel Gibson's character, he's playing William Wallace. And there's a scene where he's just giving a stirring speech to the other Klansmen who are going to be going to war against the English before this battle. And he's finished the speech, and he starts to turn on his horse, and his buddy says, "Hey, where are you going?" He says, I'm going to pick a fight. I'm going to go pick a fight.
Oh.
This song is picking a fight because I'm daring to say that all roads, every road, regardless of what you're on, whether it's spiritual or not, you might think of yourself as an atheist. You might think of yourself as an unregenerate sinner, and I love it. You might think of yourself as a holy person and actually be, a little bit mistaken about that. It doesn't matter. We are all on the road to this redemption. Sooner or later, we will evolve to the point of having conscious connection with the one, the living one, the all. It's going to happen.
But why not do it now?
Why not now?
Why not now? Yeah. In the Sedona method, they have this thing where they have you like, let's say you have one of those thoughts, right? And they ask you, could you let it go? Would you let it go? When?
Now.
Okay. So
And
do you
then
think,
again, and again,
and again, and
the
again,
next
and
now,
again.
the next now, the next now.
And do you feel like that's the process? Because that was on my list there. That's one of the
Yeah.
two things on my
Yeah.
list that I was talking
Yeah.
about is
I know.
what is the process to recognizing that we are on the road to heaven, or that we're in heaven already?
It takes some guts.
Yeah.
It really does. You got to slow down. You got to stop. You got to let go of the other voices that are happening, whether they seem to be coming from me or they're coming from other people, news sources, authority figures, et cetera. Let it go. Just quiet it down. Have to take regular periods of reflection and just listen with the expectation of hearing something correct. One of the verses that you cited, that Matthew 7 begins with, or includes the whole discussion that Yeshua goes on, when he says, seek and you will find.
Right.
Ask and it's given to you.
Yeah.
So the assurance is that if we ask the question, it's going to be answered. The problem with most people is they're asking stupid questions.
Such
How can I make this person feel better about me?
Oh, that, yeah.
How can I make them stop doing what they do?
Anybody ask that question? Yeah. Show of pinkies, yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
give me an example of a good question.
What is true?
Yeah.
Capital T. What is
What is
real?
true?
As in what doesn't change?
Hindu peace
Who-
prayer. Oh God, lead me from the unreal to the real. Yeah.
What is true in my life that I'm currently not seeing? What is the good that I am that I'm currently not recognizing? Beginning with those questions, those kinds of questions. And the thing is, you start in that manner because these are starters. These aren't completions, these statements. You start in that manner, and that which is for you to ask will come to you. It
Absolutely.
does, and it's specifically for you. Why in the world would the living one go to the trouble of creating us all if it was just to throw us in the junk heap?
Yeah. Why would the living one go to the trouble of creating you if you were supposed to be Annie Kohut?
Yeah, exactly.
Annie Kohat's supposed to be Annie Kohat.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and doing a
Exactly.
fine job of it too.
Yes,
Very
thank you,
well
Annie.
done.
You're doing great. You're really good, Annie Kohat. Yeah. Yeah. You got anything to close with, and then you want to do a prayer together again?
I would love to do a prayer together.
Okay.
Anything to close with? This I say from the bottom of my heart, I love you.
Love you too.
And it's because I can't help it. Once you get a little bit of taste of the divine, it's over.
Yep.
Yeah. You start pretending otherwise, you get that bad feeling about it again, and then you got to start over. Might as well stay with the good. Just default to love.
You've been speaking Southern a bit today.
Have
Have
I?
you noticed? Yeah. I don't know if you're Southern.
I'm about to
but-
talk to my family, so
Yeah. Right. But another thing you can say when you have a bad thought is, "Don't you pay that? No, never mind." Don't you pay that? No, never
No,
mind.
never mind.
Yeah. You know, I lived in the South for quite a
no,
while.
somebody
so.
thought I was British yesterday because I asked to go to the loo. I play with voices all the time. I told y'all I'm weird.
Yeah.
I told you I'm weird.
Like I said, it's a good fit.
Yeah.
All right. We got to pray. You ready?
Yeah.
You start. You want to start? And then just pass it to
Okay.
me. Okay.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. I am grateful to recognize that there is one power, one life, one mind, one will, one essence, one presence, animating everything, knowing itself as everything, every place, everywhere, all time, beyond my description, beyond my thought, beyond my idea. I'm grateful to recognize this, for it is knowing itself as me. Can't be true for me and not be true for anyone else, so I'm recognizing that the living one, the all, is indwelling, being, expressing perfectly as every person assembled here, as every person listening, viewing at this time or at any other future time. In truth, being every person in every place at every time, from the limitless past to the limitless future. And this being so, I must know that all is truly well. For there is nothing but joy, love, peace, compassion, abundance, health, and wholeness in the living one, in the all. And therefore, that is what's true for me and for every person here. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to join together in this spirit of echad, of unity, of oneness. And I know that every desire for that oneness, every call is being answered now by the Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit, touching each individual's consciousness with that special, particularized, individualized blessing of truth. And I pass.
And I received so gratefully and graciously, and just feeling into the way that I feel right now and trusting that others are feeling similar, filled with the Spirit, filled with love. I just want this so much for every single person in this room. I just want this grace and this knowing. And I know that there is no wanting. We want for nothing. The Lord is our shepherd. We shall not want. We don't need to want for anything because we already have it. We take a moment just to realize that. Realize that we were uniquely made as ourselves, but also one with everybody else and everything else, the whole entire world, that the one is here within us. And so anchoring in this consciousness, I know that life unfolds with perfection and grace and goodness, and that all we need to do is remember. All we need to do is remember who we are and to just open up to that possibility, that reality that we are that oneness with God. And so I just pray for the knowing for each of us that we have the capacity to do that we've heard these words today, that we have gathered in community to lift each other up and to remind each other that we can do this, we can remember, we can recognize that we are on the road to heaven, which is not really a road, it's a place that we already are. Heaven on earth is here right now, and it dwells among us, and I'm just so grateful. So grateful for that. So grateful for transformed lives. So grateful for all paths to God. So grateful for Ray and his wisdom. So grateful for the wisdom of every single person, for the revolution of every single person sitting in this sanctuary. And with a heart so filled with gratitude, I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you, loves. Thank you, grace. Thank you, divine. Thank you, the living one. And I release these words into the divine, and together we say, and so it is.
Yeah. This is a wonderful, I love this song. I get to sing this song in celebration of those who are light workers in the world. And by virtue of the fact that you're here, you are a light worker. You bring light. So this song is based on Yeshua's teachings known as the Beatitudes, which is blessings, blessings, blessings. And so this song is called Blessed. If you are one being lighted, if you are one bringing light to the darkness, then the rising sun will call you blessed. If you are one who in darkness will nurture the light, then the setting moon will know your name. Your name is blessed, for you are tested. For you are rebuked and you are scorned. Though they revile you, they can't defile you. For all receive their just reward, just reward. If you are one being light in the darkness, then the blazing sun will call you blessed. If you are one who in darkness will nurture the light, then the glowing moon will speak your name. If some accuse you, if they abuse you, it's just that they don't know what they are. They have rejected what you have accepted. They fear the light and you shine like a star. Blessed is your name, even as they set their evil eye upon you. Oh, yes, they do. So rejoice again, I say rejoice, as you make your choice and raise your voice. Food for the hungry, shelter for the homeless, water for the thirsty, support for the oppressed. See, you are the blessing when they pray to be blessed. There's no need to fight when you are the light. Just shine, 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 yeah. You are the one, you're the promise of light in the darkness. And the setting sun, he calls you blessed. Oh, lovely one, from the darkness shine, shine your light. For the rising moon, she sings your name. Your name is blessed, blessed. La 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 la. Your name is blessed. Oh, blessed, yes. La 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 la.
Let's do a prayer, okay? Thanks, Chris. So we turn within and just bless this sacred time together, this beautiful coming together of community and heart and mind and being and spirit, and just so much love in this room, so much grace and so much wisdom. I'm just grateful for all of it, and so grateful for the impact that it has upon our lives as we go our separate ways, knowing that we are never separate, but that this message ripples out and blesses all of the lives that we touch in the coming week. So I give thanks. I give thanks for everyone that showed up today, and just give thanks for the spirit that showed up within us, that drew us here. I give thanks for every single thing that happened in this service. especially those things that happen behind the scenes, those folks that are serving quietly without reward, just absolutely serving for the sake of service. With a heart that is so filled with love and gratitude, I say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, God, thank you, love, thank you, living one. And I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is.